Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe B. Hill.
And I'm Emily Carlson. Strong winds have caused plenty of damage throughout Anchorage today. We've had reports of trees falling on homes, a rope trampoline that hit a moving car, and power outages among thousands of customers.
According to the Facebook page from Chugach Electric, there are several outages remaining, impacting approximately 9,000 customers scattered throughout Anchorage. We have team coverage tonight with Shannon Ballard at Kempton Hills. Scott Gross is in South Anchorage, and Liz Raines on the hillside, which is where we begin. Liz.
Well, Joe and Emily, thankfully no one was hurt when the wind came through around 9 o'clock this morning and took the top right off of this house where we're told that a woman lives with her daughter. Now, they're okay, but Mother Nature is not letting up, which is why we're wearing safety gear. There's a lot of fiberglass and wood flying around. All of this debris is a reminder of just how dangerous these winds can be. It's stirring things up on the ground, a force that may leave you hanging on to your hat. But up on the hillside,
I haven't seen anything like this around here, but down south, yeah.
mighty Mother Nature grabbed hold of a home. This is ground zero for a new kind of force, one capable of peeling off an entire rooftop.
I don't want to call it a tornado, but it was the closest Alaska gets to a tornado.
Kerry Cassaboom was across the street having breakfast at home when suddenly his windows went dark.
I mean, the debris filled my whole view of the bowl. And I thought it was my house until I went and looked at the front of the house and I saw it was not debris from my house. Not
his house, but his neighbor's, a woman who lives here with her school-age daughter.
She's freaked out right now, but she's fine. Her daughter's at school and she didn't get hit by any debris, so she's fine. She said it sounded like a freight train from where she was. She was up in her bedroom. She wasn't feeling well today, and then the roof ripped off her house.
Now neighbors are working to nab what they can before Mother Nature decides to take any more out. And construction crews work to clear the damage she's already done. The crews worked all afternoon to clear debris from the road here behind me, and cars have started moving through again, but you want to be careful doing so. To give you another visual, I want to show you this house right across the street here. You can see that some of the wood made it up onto the rooftop there. So if that's any indication for you of just how strong this wind is out here right now.
Wow. So, Liz, how does it feel up there right now?
Well, it kind of comes up in gusts, and you really have to work to steady yourself. There's a couple times we thought we might get blown over, but then it dies back down. And from up here, we could actually see at times the wind moving down around Anchorage in a circular pattern. So really kind of a unique perspective up here to see that wind moving like that out in the Anchorage area.
All right, Liz Raines live in the hillside tonight. Thanks, Liz.
All right, now we go to South Anchorage and another part of town that has seen damage. KTVA 11 Scott Gross is there. Scott, where are you and what do you see?
Yeah, you mentioned it, South Anchorage. We're in the area of Huffman Road and Lake Otis down in these neighborhoods, and we're seeing a lot of things down here. Here's some shingles. We don't know which house these came to. They're scattered all over this yard down here. My wife even called me and said, Scott, we're out of power here in Eagle River, so we're one of those that are affected by that power outage. Take a look at this. This top of the tree ran right into the side of this pickup truck. Now, that's not the worst of this. The tree actually broke 2 times. Follow me. Take a look at the top of this tree here. It actually was broken in half twice. From the top into the truck, and then again, it snapped again down here and landed right on top of this guy's front porch. And a neighbor told me this tree was standing intact just an hour and a half ago.
When I first seen it, it was like around 2:30, 3 o'clock. It was up and stuff, the whole tree, and then next thing I know, around 4:30, it was gone. Half of it was gone.
And the wind's now picking up again. As you heard Liz mention earlier, we had a big gust come through. It actually had some debris hit my cameraman. It goes silent for a while, and all of a sudden a big, huge gust comes through. Now, Darren, the neighbor, said he's lived here since 1983, has not seen anything like the strong winds since he's lived here.
You can hear him right now. All right, thanks, Scott. Nearby is Shannon Ballard. She is in the Kempton Hills area. So, Shannon, what are you seeing there?
Hey, Emily. Well, the family that lived in this home says that the wind really started to pick up here around 1 o'clock, and that's when they noticed the ground was moving. It was moving up and down, almost like it was breathing each time that the wind blew. Not long after, the tree fell into their home, damaging their roof. A crew from Paul's Tree Service came to help get it down. They say this afternoon has been havoc. Call after call is now coming in from people with downed trees in their yards. From where I'm standing right now, I can actually count 3 downed trees, including one that is on the verge of falling into another home. As soon as a tree service crew was done here, they took off and headed to help the next person in need.
Wind picks up and all of a sudden we just start getting like 6, 7 different phone calls and drive around and you just see trees down everywhere. So it's just kind of a matter of what's kind of the biggest priority as far as what we get to. So like trees that are in houses or trees that are blocking roads or things that we'll kind of get to first to kind of open up, like make sure nobody is not going to have a problem with their house or they can like get to where they need to be and different things like that. So it kind of turns into like a bit of an adrenaline rush as well as like angst.
The family that lives here was home when the tree fell on their home. Luckily, nobody was hurt. They say, though, it was certainly a scary situation, and they're keeping a close watch on their other trees.
All right. Thanks so much, Shannon Ballard, live in Kempton Hills. Really strong wind gusts, up to 80 miles an hour on the hillside.
Yeah, we were out on the Seward, turning an arm near Girdwood, and it was tough to stand out there. I mean, it was really bad. And then Portage, it was snowing like you wouldn't believe. Getting a lot of it out there.
Yeah, it's been snowing over at Seward and Whittier, you know, right next to Portage. And I even heard some reports of snow coming down in Potter Marsh.
Potter Valley,
Yeah, so it's probably not sticking there, but it doesn't matter. This is a definite storm. It's more like a fall storm for us with the strong winds and heavy rain and some snow out there. Now, this is earlier today on Turnagain Arm. Our reporter Lauren Maxwell went out there. You can see it's absolutely howling, and she decided to do what we've all seen done at times, just lean into the wind, and as you can tell, it was certainly having no problem holding her up. Very dangerous. It looks like it's a lot of fun, but it can be dangerous if a stick or even a bubblegum wrapper kind of flies at that kind of speed and hits you in the wrong place. It stings at the very least, and if it hits you in the eye or something, it's a lot worse. Meanwhile, let's switch over. This is a live shot over at Glen Alps. You can see those trees are swaying. There's snow flying sideways there, and once again, we have the strongest winds up in the higher elevations. And here's a look at the high wind warning. It's still going on until 7 p.m. tonight. It's supposed to fall off the books for Turnagain Arm and Upper Hillside, where some gusts to 80 miles an hour. That's what they were calling for. Some locations away from there have seen gusts up into the mid-90s out above, say, Rabbit Creek at about 1,200 feet. I've seen some reports of that from the automated sensors. And as we take a look here, there is that observation, 96 miles an hour. Once again, that's above 1,200 feet. McHugh Creek, about 85 mile an hour wind, and down in Palmer, mid-50s. Same thing for our wind speeds. Peak gusts for today. Now, these are the current wind gusts within the last hour. And as you can see, it's still pretty strong in Palmer, where it's 44, 32 in Wasilla. And those numbers would not look low unless you were used to the numbers that we've been talking about here. 52 mile an hour gusts in the last hour at Anchorage, over at Ted Stevens. And J-Bear at this moment, just 20 mile an hour gust. 53, though, over in Portage. And as we take a look, there's also some rain involved with this and snow, as we just talked about. Snow falling over in Whittier, Portage, Potter Marsh, and Potter Valley. And as you can see, there is some rain that's pushing up Cook Inlet. It's just missing the Anchorage Bowl, but it is coming down in the form of rain in Wasilla and in Palmer within the last hour. And we're not the only ones with nasty weather. You can see all those advisories, mostly for strong winds and blowing snow. And there's nasty weather out in the west. We'll talk about all that when I return.